there was a boy, Lubavitcher guys, I think at NYU, asked him, "You want to put on tefillin?" So he goes, "No, that's for Orthodox. I don't do tefillin." So I'm thinking, so he's reformed technically. He was raised that way, but did he miss his own bar mitzvah? Did he not know that tefillin could also be reformed? Like, he ended up being a mashpia in a yeshiva in Miami. So he became a teacher. He married a daughter of a guy, someone chashiv in 770. And I remember his transition. During his transition, the shliach of his shliach, I think it was, don't remember, also a chashiva, like, could be Shem Tov. He was complaining about the behavior of Lubavitcher boys, and he said 770 is like the boiler room. It doesn't reflect the real Chabad. And he gave him an example of Washington, D.C. He says, go look in the neighborhoods of Washington, D.C., delinquents, bunch of crazies. But so Washington, D.C. is like, it's an important part of America, but that's not the pride of America. So the pride of Chabad, the Shliach would say, is the Chabad houses, the Shluchim's children, those who are doing a good job, obviously. So he told me that story, and he liked that answer, and it continued. And Bal Teshuva's, by the way, another story from Emmanuel Storfer. I hope he doesn't mind that I tell these stories, because he's like a hush of a self-respecting Lubavitcher. A lot of times people have a feeling they need to bury their past, and then and basically you lose a whole story right there. It's your life, it's your story. The good, the bad, the ugly, embarrassing, cute moments. What else is there? It's a journey. It's what's for the coffee table? What's the fun stuff? Looking at pictures. Oh, we went here to yeshiva. This, that. Even people who are like very chashiv with their children around them, they say stories about getting kicked out of yeshiva, and it's like they say, "I still survived. I went through it." Like it's a chashiv a thing for them, and they're proud of it. So he was once driving with me, Emmanuel, and he said, "You see all these places, these Asian places, Arabic places, all these food places down in Brooklyn. Imagine, and this is like probably 20 years ago." He says, all this was food to me before I became frum. So I wanted to mention that these Bal Teshuvas, it's a real commitment. They're not quitters. They go into something, and then all of a sudden they have these interesting laws. They're figuring out new laws as they go. And they're told that we can't tell you everything at once. If we tell you everything at once, you'll run away. One Bal Teshuva woman in Crown Heights on Montgomery Street was telling another woman, if I told you all the laws, you'd freak out. So we're not supposed to tell you all the laws. Okay, it's not that many laws, by the way. You think to be frum is so difficult. Most of the Torah we're not keeping. There's no karbanis, there's no kahanim, neviim, shadim, malach, none of that. It's all zeicher. So the people who are not familiar with religion look at the zeicher and they think it's a bunch of laws, but it's just a memory. But it's still a burden. I don't wish it on anybody. It's still a majorly extra burden. Imagine the shabbosim, staying, moving, buying a house close to shul, all that. Guy couldn't figure out that you could ride a bike on Shabbos with a very, very respectable hectare. This Simchas Torah, the first night, I was with a boy, and he was doing yahrzeit for his father, who was a big Baal Tzedakah and a chashuv guy in Crown Heights. And then he just mentions Rabbi Lustig from Yeshiva, and I have a good, I know people have, I always respect, I give him respect, and I tell him nice things when I see him, make him smile. But some people don't forgive him and don't like him. And we're sitting at the table, he's there with his girlfriend, and, it's very nice. I'm here, there, I love the shliach, but I'm there because of him, because of yahrzeit, and of course, I'm hitting two birds with one stone, but at the same time, I love them both, really sweet shliach. But he starts talking to the wife and saying, Rabbi Lustig wasn't a nice guy, and she makes such a face. She could have said, later, shpeter. This is the shliach, this is the table, this is the balabatim right here. But she gave him that sourest face, and nicht jetzt, nicht, I. And he got such a chelek, just that face, ba'apam harguish, you know what they're saying with the nose, you kill. It was such a, that sour face, really, he got such a chelek for it. He could have been like, yeah, lustig, later, you can tell me whatever you want. I'll listen, I'll disagree, I'll listen. It's your story, it's your life, maybe you suffered. So, look at this dog here. He's sleeping. Schlaft. So, okay, so the main story is now. So I go, Simchas Torah, I make a stop. And it cost me a lot of time, these stops. Okay, we're going in for 15 minutes and, a hop, what they call, and then you're there for much longer. And I had a nice I'm a little reluctant to tell the story. Had a nice joint rolled by this company, and they did with a nice sprinkle this very fine grinded keef around it, and I'm thinking now is finally my chance to try it. It's a good time. The sukkah is empty at this Chabad house. And people are inside around the Torah. And I just didn't realize the distance, and I just didn't know that, be careful, they stink up the block, they say. It really sends a smell far. So I light it up. I'm smoking it. I'm trying to appreciate it slowly. And, it's perfect when you're waiting for someone, you're killing time. You kind of have a built-in type of patience right there to just appreciate the craft of what it is. It's not just that you want to get high. It's you want to taste, you want to understand. And it's the right time, it's the right place in my mind, right? But I was mistaken. So the whole talk about alcohol versus smoking, you'll get a good example right here. I light it up, the smell goes in, this girl goes and starts closing the glass doors. It was like she's closing them. Then this rabbi who I know, who I used to daven by him because Dean would let me to come there. So he came and he said, what are you, and there's no smoking here, it's Yantif, it's not Shabbos, right? It's Yantif, you can smoke, it's just that's unacceptable for the neighborhood. Because it's mostly Iranians come there, and some of them are, a sprinkle few are even frum, like, they're not Chabad. It's like borderline Haredi, but like with the elegance and class, and the woman with the tichel, but she's very well dressed. And the husband was slouched over, he drank too much, it's very dangerous. And I'm getting approached right now, and a befrat, they say, especially this stuff, the green, right? It's considered, I don't know if it's as bad as cigarettes and the whole nature of cigarettes. It's nothing I ever respected, but people need it. So people, it's their need. They're addicted to cigarettes. They have to leave, they have to go a couple of blocks down, they have to get their cigarettes. They can't just sit and join a fabrang, or you go out sometimes at dinner, a guy needs a cigarette, and you have to beg for it sometimes. It's real addiction. But traditionally, the way this Tamavat the Bacher younger man understands is that he's simple-minded. He knows the rules, and the rules is that this is considered unacceptable, and that's why it never came into Chabad. But the drinking had its own long list of problems, shame, and embarrassment, and damage. So I'm thinking to myself, look, this is a whole family here. This is not just one young guy that tried it. He's a teenager, he's throwing up. This is a guy sitting next to his wife, slouched over. I saw them going to shul the next day. It's dangerous. Not long ago, a family was here from New York, and I saw the wife walking the kids, and they said, and the husband is not alive today. Very sad story. Alcohol poisoning. And terrible story that I heard in Brooklyn during Sukkot. And So, to my defense, it was as if to say, you have the biggest Chil Lubavitch going on, but you don't know it's a Chil Lubavitch because you're literally trained so square. You don't see it in front of your eyes. It's the major. They're not Chabad. And the alcohol was put out in abundance. I'm not saying which Chabad this was. It was in abundance, all types, bottles everywhere. If they would serve it like in the Orthodox shul, Danziger, he gives everybody a little bit, and a little bit is nice. Because I like a little bit. I know I never get drunk. I'm not interested in getting drunk. So, and the reason I noticed that this guy is drunk, I myself didn't notice it. But the only reason why I noticed it and came up with the vart and said, "What? Look how dangerous, how silly, how naive you are, and you're giving me instruction," was because he was giving me instruction. Because I felt ashamed and I really needed to balance it out and I felt like I needed to defend myself. I didn't even tell him. I told it to myself. I told it to my friend outside. I said, "Hey, look at these guys. They're so sick because of alcohol. What a Chilul Lubavitch, because you could do Simchas Torah without getting sick and without getting drunk." And this problem, the first night of Simchas Torah, there was a guy made Kiddush on Mashke, and he came to the table with the whole family and shluchim, and he was really sweet, and he was talking about making a shiur and shiurim and I love you, and really got, and he was just sleeping by the table, and his brother-in-laws were talking Dvar Torahs. Real sweet guy, but it's a blanket that nobody knows about the dangers and the limits and the takanas, and they're worried about a little bit of green smoking. Thank you for watching.